Monday Night Football, Bills, Bengals, and joining us now is a guy that sat on both sides of the fence tonight. First round draft choice of the Bengals, started his career there. Then Bills Mafia basically recruited him to Buffalo, and the rest is history. One of the most intense competitors you've ever seen in a Bills uniform is Takeo Spikes joining us here in hour number 3. How we doing, Takeo? Good to see you, man. You look great.
Hey, outstanding, man. It's always a pleasure to be able to chop it up, not only when we talk about the great ball that the Bills are playing, but two of my former teams. So I've been doing great. Happy holidays to the both of you.
Yeah, you've been a part of games like this when you play. You played for 15 years, and just try and describe for people listening. Well, I've tried to do it, and I don't know if I've done a really good job of it or not. But the difference, because you practice at a high level, you train at a high level, you're professionals. But when you get to a game like this one, describe what changes in the building when you get to work on every morning about, listen, this is a big game. This is you know what I mean? This is a playoff kind of game. Describe the difference between the all-day, everyday regular season and then you get into a scuffle like this one.
All right, so it used to be 16 weeks, Steve. Now we all know it's 17 weeks, which really means 18 weeks when you count the bye week. And what happens is you start to get in that mundane routine of Monday, you come in, depending on if you have victory Monday, Tuesday, day off, you still go in, you get into your routine. But now it's different. As you mentioned, even though it's not a playoff game, but technically it really is. And this is the reason why, because it's a heightened sensitivity of awareness that goes up if you're the Buffalo Bills coming into this game. You understand that this Bengals team is very dangerous. They're coming in up under a 7-game win streak, number one. And then number two, even though you're leading your division or clinch your division, you know what? You still got to play for the best seed, because ultimately at the end of the day, you want to be that number one seed. And if you can be that number one seed, guess what? That brings Kansas City to you now. You don't have to go and play Kansas City and Kansas City fans. And you look at the heightened sensitivity of what I mentioned also is the guys understand coming in that building this week, and it will be displayed tonight. This is a game that you really don't want to lose. Why? Because it could really put you in the number 3 seed in the AFC, which means you could potentially be going to play the Kansas City Chiefs, the 1 and 2 seed, or it could be who is the number 2 seed? Maybe the Bengals, right?
One of these two. It'd be one of these two teams going to the other one to face them again. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's what changes. You don't get in that same routine. You do the same thing, but it's more of a sense of urgency that you bring into the building with you. It's not like on Wednesday, oh, okay, I'll get it. You get a mistake wrong on a play. Oh, I didn't recognize it. I get it tomorrow. Negative. You got to get it today. And that's the heightened sensitivity of what comes along with it.
I think Takeo's ready to put a helmet on right now. So talk to me, Takeo, from a linebacker perspective here, because one change that we've noticed in Joe Burrow's game is he's kind of adopted that Tom Brady approach, like, hey, you're going to give me free 7 yards. I'll take the check down here and I'll get 2nd and 3 and live that way all day. When you're a linebacker and you're facing a quarterback that seems willing or more apt than in the past to go that route, because you're playing cover 2 shell or whatever, and not give him anything cheap or deep, how does that change your perspective as a linebacker? Obviously, you've got your game plan, you've got your assignments, but knowing a quarterback is more apt to take those, does it change your focus? Does it heighten your awareness anymore?
Yeah, it does. It heightens your awareness from the standpoint of we used to play checkers, now we have to play chess with it. And what I mean by that is I remember playing against Tom Brady. If you give him a cover 2 shell, he's going to be patient at the line of scrimmage, and he sees the boxes like he's going to run it. He's patient with getting 3-4 yards to carry, because if you get 4 yards to carry, that's a first down every 3 plays. Now you bring somebody in the box. He's going to check, okay, I see one-on-one opportunities on the outside. I may look for a bang eight. I may look for out routes. And so as a defender, especially as linebackers, you want to be aggressive. As defensive linemen, you want to be aggressive, but you have to understand, you got to understand how the quarterback is thinking, how the offensive coordinator is thinking, and you have to know when to take your shots. This is a prime example tonight to where you may see Ed Oliver, Gregory Rousseau, trying to take advantage of them when they earn the right to rush the passer, put them in long yardage situations. And when you put them in that, now it's the process of elimination. Now you don't have to play the chess game anymore. It's straight checkers, man on man, and then you let it line up and you see who let the best man go out and win it out.
What do you think about what's your mindset when this Cincinnati Bengal offense takes the field? They got 3 wideouts that are all really good. As a defender, how do you approach a game when a team has got really big-time weapons on the outside that you got to cover up? I mean, you got to pick one to double, you got to pick one to single up, you got to, zone it off, you got to, man it up all the time, you got to get in their face or you play off. What is the mindset in preparation when you take the field against a team is going to throw it to those 3 guys?
You have to go inside of your defensive back room, well, really in the entire defense. Up front, guys, we need one of you guys to exploit the weakest link. We know La'el Collins, he's out. And so I talked about Ed Oliver, Gregory Rousseau. We need you guys to pick up the slack. Then you go to the back end in the defensive backs room and you look and see, let's go back a few weeks ago when we played Miami. We didn't necessarily needed one guy to go out to defend the cheater. So let's play bracket coverage on one guy, and then we can go ahead and get a Tre'Davious White, which I'm glad to see him back, and put him in a position to say, you are the X factor. Understand in certain down and distance situations, this is where the ball is going. This is the reason why we're going to assign you to be on this guy every time, because you know the tendencies and you've watched them all week. And outside of that, for the third receiver, yeah, they're going to make plays. Like that's part of what they do, but we have to keep the damage to a minimum. And I think that's the best way when you talk about defending this dangerous Cincinnati Bengals offense, is to be able to take your stars and put them against their stars, but ask a little bit more out of your superstars, especially on the defensive line, because that is the best asset to any cornerback in the National Football League.
All right, so you were known as an emotional leader, Takeo, and these big games, naturally, because of your emotional constitution, you would probably get super hyped for these things.
Oh,
Josh Allen, as we know, gets super hyped for these things too. He did a really good job last year of keeping his emotions more in check and kind of avoiding that moniker that some people had given him called Sugar High Josh Allen. How would you keep your emotions in check, so you're not so hyped to the point where you can't even think straight and, remember alignment, assignment, et cetera?
It's just a reminder. And I think I can speak on this because I have plenty experience on it. I remember going out one game and I just got extremely too high, just expecting to just kill somebody. And when they gave me a look that I wasn't expecting, I was like, hey, Fletch, what's going on? So, it was like I had to reset. So I think it's important tonight. They have to understand this team is very good. This team dethrones the Kansas City Chiefs. So with knowing that, they're going to make their plays, and that's fine. But we just have to make more plays than them. And so when they do make a play, don't get discouraged. Don't get mad. Let's at least talk about it and figure out the why. And once you're able to figure out the why coming back to the sideline, hopefully you can figure it out within that play drive. Now you can make the adjustments, because I truly believe I'm so looking forward to this matchup. I think it's the premier matchup in the AFC. Hands down, it is. And I think the emphasis really needs to be on, if they make a play, so what? We're going to make 2 more than the play than they made.
And if you get into this game at this level, at this time of year, because there's only one game after this, kind of quantify for both of these clubs, because even if you don't get there, the Bengals have proven it. They don't need home field advantage to get to the Super Bowl. They did it on the road last year. The Bills have gone on the road and have not made it to the Super Bowl, but got to the AFC Championship game and played really outstanding football in Kansas City and can walk out of there with their head high. But still, neither of these teams should feel like their season's over if they don't get the 1 seed. But what's the difference for both of these clubs? If Cincinnati gets the 1 seed, what's it mean to them? And if Buffalo gets the 1 seed, how does it change or affect their chance? I mean, both these clubs would love it, no question about it. But how likely is it that if one of them doesn't get it, they can still get to the Super Bowl?
I think you just go off of the resume, and I think you said it best, Steve. Cincinnati was a team, they were complete road warriors a year ago. And so for me, being in situations to where you've done it before versus just talking about it, hoping the best for it, these guys are battle tested when it comes on the road. So in the event that Cincinnati loses this game this evening, their mindset will be, you know what, guys, like, it's still okay. Like, what we have done up until this point is not by accident. We've won 7 straight and beaten some of the best teams. And a lot of them came on the road. So from that aspect, I think that will be best. And if you take the Bills and you look at the Buffalo Bills and say, hey, if they're fortunate enough to win this game this evening, I really think this takes them to another level of comfortability. There's nothing like playing the playoffs knowing that you never have to leave. Everybody comes into your backyard. And not only do I think you play a little bit better when you're at home. The bravado is a little bit better when you're at home. And then the mindset is a little bit better. And then you see Bills Mafia outside that's going to give the warm team a nice welcome, jumping off the tables, the intimidation factor. I think all of that plays a little factor into it as well. So regardless of whatever may happen, we still will have 2 very good teams heading into the playoffs.
Last one from me, Takeo, because we haven't talked to you in a while. And again, appreciate the time. I'm curious for your thoughts on the linebacker talents that Edmunds and Milano are within the scope of this defense, number one. And then the second part of that question, is it crazy to you that you see a Bills defense and their base defense is nickel? They play nickel 96% of the snaps, and you can't pull them out of it. But Edmunds and Milano first. Give me your thumbnail sketch of those guys.
I think they play very, very good defensive players, hands down. I think they play better with each other, and that's the reason why you see every snap, whatever formation that's probably presented to them, they're athletic enough and they know how to play off of each other enough to where even if you give us 10 personnel, which is 4 wide receivers, 1 running back, it's okay because we have guys who understand their limitations, and then just the camaraderie, and then just the mentality of how the back end plays with the linebackers as well. And what was the second one, Chris, you said?
Just this day and age, the Bills playing 96% nickel. Like they face 12 personnel. They sit in it because Taron Johnson's like almost like a hybrid linebacker. I know you played with Brian Scott, who was kind of like one of those hybrid guys too, but Taron Johnson's a nickel corner doing that stuff.
Yeah. And, even going back to my days in Buffalo, the thing that I appreciated most was when we had Antoine Winfield, and we would sometimes move him into the slot position.
Yep.
Just because he was like a Sam linebacker. So it's not surprising. And when I look at the way that they're able to play with each other, and I like I said before, they play very well with each other because they know each other expectations. So it's a joy to see. And for me, I'm proud of Tremaine just because I had the opportunity. A lot of people don't know this. When he came out of college, I spent a couple of weeks with him, working with him, developing him on certain of his skills, drops, understanding, recognizing formations. just trying to get him caught up to where he gets to the point. Who knew he would have got drafted to the Buffalo Bills? But he has really gotten better week in and week out. I'm very proud of both of them. And from a former linebacker who played in Buffalo, I was talking with Cornelius Bennett about this maybe a year ago, and we just smiled, just knowing like, man, you see what you started. I told Biscuit that. Then Biscuit was like, well, you see what you kept up. And I'm like, all right, I see what I'm now presenting. So it's a trickle-down effect.
Takeo, thanks, man. It's great to see you. You look great. You look like you'd be selling soap, man. You look fantastic. Thanks for coming on with us.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it, man.